of the blessing his father had given him. He said to himself, "The days of mourning for my father are near. Then I will kill my brother Jacob." When Rebekah was told what her older son Esau had said, she sent for her younger son Jacob and said to him, "Your brother Esau is planning to avenge himself by killing you." Wow. "Now then, my son, do what I say. Flee at once to my brother Laban in Haran. Stay with him for a while until your brother's fury subsides. When your brother is no longer angry with you and forgets what you did to him, I'll send word for you to come back from there. Why should I lose both of you in one day?" So, and if they're reading. And then I want to grab one verse from chapter 28. It says, "Then Isaac sent Jacob on his way. And he went to Paddan Aram to Laban, son of Bethuel, the Aramean, the brother of Rebekah, who was the mother of Jacob and Esau." Again, then Isaac sent Jacob away. Again, we're talking about exit, right? Exit meaning departure, withdrawal, right? And so tonight, for our time of sharing, I want to talk about when it's time to go. When it's time to go. And so Sunday we talked about what? Y'all remember? Emergency exits, right? Emergency exit. And what is an emergency exit used for?
Right away. Right as soon as possible. Get out of there.
Get out of there. It's a way out, right? It's a route, right? And it's put in place for what?
Danger.
Right? It's a route. It's put in place for what? You might want to turn it. Oh. Oh. There we go. Hey, Carolyn. Hey, everybody that's joining in. So an emergency exit, like we can see here, if we look to my right, you guys is left, you see all those exit signs that point to an exit. And so an emergency exit is used to get you out quickly, right? Because you don't just randomly use an emergency exit, because normally for an emergency exit, if it's on a door, you can't just go in and out of it. There's an alarm that sounds, right? And so an emergency exit is used when there is danger, right? When for some of us, or some of us have experienced where you use an emergency exit for fire. Oftentimes in schools and in workplaces, they have what we call a fire drill that prepares us for if we happen to experience an emergency. And so it's a way of escape. It's an exit when there is a threat of some type of danger. And I had shared Sunday how we are in a climate, and I never thought that I would ever fix my mouth to say, where we have school shootings. When I was coming up I ain't gonna say what years that was. We didn't hear of school shootings. We had school fights. We didn't have school shootings, but here in our society, it's becoming. It will never be normal for me, but it's becoming something that's happening quite often, right? And not only in schools where you have school shootings where when the school needs to be evacuated, they have to take emergency exit. What about church? We have people now that come in churches and shoot. Yeah. Never thought we would see those days, but here we are.
Right.
And so, here in the text, we find something similar. We find here where where Jacob is under a threat. He is in harm's way and is in need for an emergency exit. Are you with me? And so what happened, to give you some background, what happened is, you were probably wondering for those of you who were there on Sunday, y'all ain't wondering, y'all already know, but let me catch everybody else up. What has happened is, remember last week when we first got started with this series of Exit, we talked about deliverance, remember?
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca was pregnant with twins, and she had Esau first, but then she had Jacob right behind him. And we talked about last week how that is an exit. Giving birth is an exit.
And he was grabbing at his heel.
Mm-hmm. And what was happening here is that type of exit, we call that deliverance, right? Because anytime that when you're giving birth, that is a delivery. You're giving deliverance, or deliverance is happening because you're moving from one space and you're exiting that space into another, right? And so we talked about exiting there, but we talked about while she was pregnant, the siblings who were twins, they weren't identical, who were twins, they were fighting each other. We had talked about last week how, we know siblings fight after they born, as you grow up. If you grew up with siblings, you fight. We know that we fight, especially when parents are at work in the summertime. I believe that fights go up.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, when I was growing up, wasn't no such thing as throwing them in daycare. It was the older one watching the other one, right?
Getting a whooping for everything the younger ones did.
Yeah, jacking it up. Yeah. And so, but here in the text, we see that they was fighting even before they left the womb. And so, as we look at that, what we talked about with that deliverance is sometimes deliverance doesn't come, you don't get delivered at the same time as somebody else. Because in order for her to have the babies, they didn't come out simultaneously at the same time. One had to come out and then the next one had to come out. And sometimes, even though they were in the same situation, experiencing the same struggle, because they were fighting, they were in the same environment, that toxic environment, if you will, one got delivered before the other. And sometimes we're looking at other people's situation that we are experiencing similar things, and we're wondering, well, why ain't I out of it yet? But here in the text, this allows us to understand that just because she made it out right now doesn't mean you're going to make it out at the same time. But just like this text, when we saw here, Esau was the one that made it out first, but guess what? When it was time, when Jacob's time came, he made it out too, which allows us to understand that if you're going through a struggle, if you're waiting for God to deliver it, just hold on. Your time is coming. Your time is coming, because in that text, it said that when her time fully came, she delivered twins. All right? And so here we see this other idea of exit. We see here that, remember the two babies, they were struggling. Well, as they got older, the one that came out second, Jacob, remember you had mentioned he was a heel grabber. Well, the thing about when you look at heel grabber and you look at it from an English point of view, you would think, oh, he was just grabbing his heel. Oh, there's nothing to that, right? But in the Hebrew, what heel grabber means, it's another word of being slick, being tricky. Because when I first looked at it, I'm like, well, what was so wrong with him grabbing him? Maybe he was just holding on like, I'm coming too, like, don't leave me. But no, in the Hebrew, and the Old Testament was in the original language. The Old Testament was written in the Hebrew. The New Testament is written in the Greek. And so the Hebrew meaning for a heel grabber is another word for that is slick, tricky, slick watts. Who was that Sunday said Slick Rick? Lisa. Lisa said Slick Rick. Yeah, it's somebody that is shady, don't do business right? And so once they got older, remember, Esau came out first. He was the oldest son, always held the birthright. Meaning that when it was time for the blessing, that birthright, that firstborn would get basically more than the other children, okay? So what happened is, one day, and remember, and I think I shared this on Sunday, Esau was his dad's favorite. Jacob was his mother's favorite. Esau liked to do the outdoorsy things, like the manly things, if we will. The father liked that because Esau would go hunting. He would bring in that wild meat. He would share, he would prepare meals for his father. They enjoyed that. Well, Jacob liked to hang out in the tents. He liked to hang out where the women hung out. Okay? And he liked cooking. He liked doing those types of things. And so he was the mother's favorite. And what it appears is whoever you spent the most time with, that's who you probably got closest to. And if we think about it today, think about which parent did you seem to connect with most? With me and my brother, I mean, I know my mom loved me, but I know that there was a time where David, I'm her favorite now, but there was a time where David was her favorite because they had a lot in common. Because you know why? Football. I don't watch football like that. I do have favorite team, but I'm not into it to where I'm going crazy about a football team. My brother, Dallas playing, my cousin Chauncey, when Dallas been playing, glued to the TV. Matter of fact, if Dallas is winning and they running to try to score, my brother is running with the TV like he's part of the team. He's running with them and it's just bad. I don't like when Dallas plays on the holidays because he makes me nervous. Put it like this: he goes in and he goes crazy, and so him and my mom, they have that connection where they love sports, they love football. And then me and my dad, we had the connection. But now that we've gotten older, my mom, she favors, I feel like she favors me more. Right.
Yeah.
But here, we see here that they have favorites, but favorites cause problems. A lot of times favorites cause problems. You might be sitting here and stewing like, my mom, them, they were, my sister Shelly, she was the favorite. And it caused a lot of issues. It caused a lot of tension in the house. So it's not always good to have favorites, okay? But they had favorites. Well, one day when Esau was out hunting or whatever he was doing outdoors, doing those types of things, he came into the tents or came into the house and he was so hungry. I mean, so hungry. And his brother Jacob took advantage of that vulnerable place that he found himself in. He was hungry and he wanted something to eat. He asked Jacob for a bowl of lentils that he had cooked, and Jacob basically used that as an opportunity to get what he wanted from him. And there he said, I'll give you some if you sell me your birthright. Well, Esau was basically saying, well, what is that birthright to me when I'm so hungry that I'm about to die? And so he agreed to do that in order to eat. That's dirty. Let me tell you how dirty that is. It's dirty. Number one, it's dirty because it's always wrong to take advantage of someone that's vulnerable.
Right.
Why not just give him something to eat? Why do we always, and when I say we, I'm not saying that. Sometimes I talk in the third person, but why do some people, well, I'm going to say we, because sometimes, no, I'll say some people, me included. Why do we always try to figure out how to have a come up? Am I by myself? Or maybe you're walking the straight and narrow today. But not too many years ago. Why can't we just be a giver? Why do we always have to have something in return? There's been times where I wanted something like today, or I might have wanted something from my daughter. Like if I might, what do I say? Back when my daughter was doing my hair. If I knew that she didn't really want to, I would bargain with her. If you do my hair, I'll do this.
I say that to my daughter now.
Right. But why can't I just do the whatever the situation is, why does she have to repay me with doing my hair? But here's the thing. He was vulnerable, he was hungry, and you use that opportunity to get what you want. Because he found himself in a desperate situation. Have you ever found yourself in a desperate situation where somebody took advantage of that? Took advantage that, you know how you done hit a low point in your life and somebody comes along and take advantage of that. But not only that, that's your brother. That's your peoples. It don't get no closer than that. This is somebody you shared the womb. Not only are you sharing, you're in the family, you shared the womb with. And you gonna do this? Yeah, we fight. Siblings fight. But you gonna sell me? You gonna sell the bowl? You're asking me to pay you to eat. It didn't say that he only had one bow and, well, if I part with this, I ain't gonna have nothing else. You took advantage of my hunger. You took advantage because I'm in a desperate situation, and that was your opportunity to get over on me. How often do we do that? Get over on people. Ooh, thank you, Holy Spirit. How often do we go to these other countries, like Jamaica and Bahamas and Mexico, and we know that they need money, but we will and deal to get their jewelry.
I walk in when I go to places like that. I walk in instead of out because I know the money's not really going to them. So I always try to walk into the villages where I know that those people are actually selling that.
We go. I've been guilty this past year. Going into where the locals are, and they walking up and down the beaches with jewelry that they done made, and because sometimes if they'll go around, you'll see them down on the beach. If there's something that the color that you don't that they don't have, they'll go make it for you. But then I'm still trying to figure out how to get it for $5.
I'm about to say they selling it 3 for $25. Right. You say I give it to you for 5 for $25.
But we won't dare. Let me just go ahead. We won't dare go in Macy's. We won't dare go in Nordstrom's or Saks and be like, oh, you want $300 for that bottle of cologne? I'll give you $100. Security, right? Security, mark it right on out. Security. But we'll do it to the vulnerable, the ones that don't have a lot. Oh, Lord, forgive me. I've done it. This year in Jamaica, I'm always trying to figure out, okay. Then sometimes I'll hook up with my cousin, I'll whisper to her, and we already got a plan. We already know, well, if you walk away, they'll come running after you. So let's play the walk away. Lord, forgive me. But you see how, at the time, I wasn't thinking that I'm trying to get over, but now that I done read this.
I thought you was bargaining.
Yeah, well, I knew I was. But then I think that what's making me really think about it is why would I do it to them and I won't do it to Macy's? Why won't I do it? Because I'd be too embarrassed to do it in Macy's. Can you see me at the perfume counter talking about, what about? How much you want? 82? What about 30? I would be too afraid and too embarrassed to do that.
I'm not.
But I ain't embarrassed to go run.
Look, I say y'all got any promotions going on and I don't know anything about trying to keep
That's promotion. We can ask for promotions because they do promotions. But what the point that I'm trying to make is we will do it so quick to the vulnerable faster than we would do it to anybody else. because we know that the vulnerable are at our mercy.
Yeah.
They need our money.
That's true. Got it.
And that's the point that I'm making.
Yeah, I get it.
I just-
That's the point that I'm making. Yeah.
We got to do better.
I got to do better.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to do better. Yeah. Oh, I mean, the last few years that I've been going, I know that I have gotten over. And so I stand convicted. Yeah. Oh Lord, what were we talking about? Exit. So anyway, he took advantage of his own brother. Allows us to know that this isn't some stranger that's doing it. And even one of my favorite vacation spots is Jamaica. Jamaica is like a second home to me. So here's the thing. I love the country so much, but do I? I go every year. We go as a family every year. I mingle, talk with the locals. We even got a discount on them horseback ride, everything. But I'm doing them like that. Somebody that I claim to love. That's wrong. It's wrong. So he took advantage of his brother. He went for it and he sold his birthright for a bowl of beans, lentils. So that we think that was, that was one thing, okay? But then his father is getting older to the point where he feels like he may not be making, he ain't got too much longer to live.
Mm-hmm.
And so he calls in Esau. Now, this is after that has happened. He calls in the son Esau, and he's telling him, I'm getting ready to bless you. I'm getting ready to pronounce the blessing over you, because there's a birthright and then there's this blessing. And he says, but what I want you to do first is I want you to go out hunting. I want you to get that good food that I like, that meat that I like you to, that I like for you to cook. I want you to go hunting, get it, bring it back, prepared, that tasty food, and then I'm gonna bless you. Well, the mama was ear hustling, as many of us do. Some of us are professional ear hustlers. She overheard him talking to the son. She didn't want that to happen. And so she devised up her own plan. Let me back up. Prior to that, remember when she was pregnant and they were fighting in her womb and she didn't understand what was going on. Remember, she went to the Lord to find out, something's happening inside of me. What is going on? The Lord revealed to her what was going on in her. There was two nations that were constantly going to be at odds with each other. And then she also says, you're going to have sons, but the older is going to serve the younger, which is normally out of order. It's usually the younger serves the older. So she already knew that the older was supposed to serve the younger. So when she overhears the father getting ready to bless the older, she does what many of us do, and she tries to help God out. Mm-hmm. Instead of allowing the process to be whatever God's process is supposed to be, she decides, well, I'm going to intervene because that's not what the Lord told me was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that's what we do. Mm-hmm. We don't wait for God's process. Mm-hmm. When we think it's time for God's blessing or whatever God has told us to come to fruition. If it's not coming in the time frame or the way that we think it should, we start doing stuff.
Yeah.
Basically, what she's doing is trying to manipulate the process. And anytime that you have to manipulate the process, that is an indicator, ding, 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 that you're wrong. Mm-hmm. Not too long ago, we talked about somebody else trying to help God out. Sarai, before she became Sarah. Mm-hmm. And what did we tell at the end of that lesson? What did we say she needed to start doing? Keeping her hands in her pockets. Keeping your hands out of God's business. Because anytime that we put our hands in it, it causes drama, it causes problems. And so she was ear hustling. She overheard what Esau wanted to do. And so after she heard what she heard, she called Jacob and she told him, she devised this plan where she was going to have him dress up like the brother in order to trick the father, because at that time the father's eyesight had gone. He wasn't able to see. And so in order to trick, she wanted to devise this problem, plan in order to trick him. So much so to where when she told Jacob the plan, he wasn't on board right away. He wasn't on board right away. As a matter of fact, he was a little bit resistant. He was hesitant about it because he felt like, you're going to get me in some big trouble. But she basically said, in other words, she said, boy, do what I told you to do. And then he ended up going along with the program. In other words, the reason why he was able to do with this idea of tricking and slicking, guess where he learned it from? Mom. His mama taught him that. The question becomes tonight, what have we taught our children, or what have our mamas taught us, or our parents taught us? How have they influenced us? I remember I was smoking Newports. Yeah. My daddy smoked, and then I found out later, you always find out some dirt when you get around when you go down south and you in the house with all the other parents and stuff, like when you have the family reunions and everybody's sitting around talking about old stuff, that's when you find out that your mom was not an angel. You find out that your mom, you almost burnt down the bathroom by rolling up cigarettes. Okay? I learned to roll joints and sell weed because my dad rolled joints and sold weed. Some of the stuff, some of the behaviors that our kids are dealing with today, if we look back, we can see ourselves. No. She taught him how to trick. What is mama teaching us? Or what have we taught? What have some mamas taught some people? Have we taught some daughters how to trick? Have we taught them how to have sugar daddies because we had a sugar daddy? For those of you that don't know what sugar daddy is, it's when a young woman gets an older man and basically uses him for money. Have I described it correctly? Yeah.
And when it's the women, it's the cougars.
Now I forgot. Now women is cougars.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What have we taught? Have we taught children how to use drugs? Are we the one who has been the influence behind some of the behaviors in our kids' life, or have we picked up some of the behaviors that our parents have influenced us in our lives? And so she taught him this. His own mama taught him how to be slick, how to trick, how to be deceitful. And so she devised this plan, and she said, this is what we're going to do. This is what your dad is doing. He sent your brother out there to get some wild game, but I want you to go out here and get 2 goats. That's a problem in itself right there. He sent him to get wild meat. You going to get domestic. Ain't that what you call it when it's right there? Goats. Because I know how to cook your father up some good food. So basically what she's doing is she's going to deceive him with the food. But then I'll also, after when she prepares the food, she's going so far to take the skin of the goat and she wants it on his hands and his neck area, any area that was flesh, exposed with flesh. She wanted to cover it because she was using the goat skin, because goats have hair, because the brother, remember when he was born, was very hairy. Look at the extreme that she's doing to deceive. So she does that, but then she goes another further. Then she goes to get some of his clothes, the other brother's clothes. Because remember, he was an outdoorsman, meaning that his clothes probably was, when people, when you come in from outside, when you've been playing outside all day, and when you come in the house, they be saying, you smell like outside. In other words, basically what they're saying is, you funky. Right? Right, all outside. And if you was anything like, if anybody's mama was like mine, when we came in, we had to go to the bathtub. But here's the thing. Now, this probably will get you in trouble today, so don't do this. But back in the day, my mama would put a cap full of bleach or a cap full of, not the Lysol they sell today, I'm talking about the brown bottle, the concentrate, in the bath water. And sometimes
and my knees and my elbows got scrubbed.
I did not.
yeah, so
Instead of a washing machine, it'd be in the bathroom.
right. And so anybody else, mama put bleach in their water when they came in from outside? Yeah. Our mamas thought bleach killed everything. Oh, you might have been outside and you might have got a tick or something. Yeah.
I take a shower in all hot water to this day.
Right.
Not a drop of cold.
Right, so here, she goes to all these extremes to prepare him, to get ready to execute this plan. And so guess what? He goes to the father. The father at first is a little bit skeptical, like, when he went to the father, he was like, he's here, he's ready for the blessing or what have you. And the father was like, you sound like Jacob, but you feel like Esau. But instead of going with what he was hearing, he went with what he felt like he felt. Ooh. Thank you, Holy Ghost. Let's put a pause there. Sometimes, especially when we're dealing with things in the spirit, sometimes we always go by what we feel. I feel like this. I feel like that. I feel like that. Something, I feel this. And sometimes we'll override what we heard or how we hear versus what we feel. Because guess what? If he would have went with what he heard, he would have knew that he was being deceived. But because he was going with what he felt, that's how he got deceived. There's times in our lives where we always need to go with, what did God tell us? Not by what we feel. Because what we feel, we can be deceived by that. Ooh, that might preach one day. All right. And so he felt, and he was like, well, I hear the voice of Jacob, but you feel like Esau. And then when he brought him close, he smelt the clothes. And he says he smells like Esau. And so guess what? The plan worked. He blessed him. He got the blessing. He went on his merry little way. No harm, no foul, he thought, probably. Especially when the first time he had interactions with, deceiving his brother. Then we didn't hear of no fight. We didn't hear of anything happening with that. He go on about his business. He thinks everything's cool. I got the birthright. Now I got the blessing. I'm good. So he goes on his way, but then here comes Esau. He goes and he announces himself to his father, and the father is upset to the point where he's trembling because now he's realizing, I done blessed the wrong person. Because I went by what I felt. And so Esau finds out that the brother done tricked the father, and he's angry. Matter of fact, I'm trying to clean it up. He's pissed, furious. And it says, verse 41, so Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing with which the father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning my father are very near. Then I will kill my brother Jacob. Can we say that Jacob is in harm's way? And what happened is, he says, notice it says, Esau hated Jacob. And then it gave the reason, because of the blessing. And Esau said in his heart, when it's in your heart, that's not a good place for hate to be. Down in your heart. Because hate starts growing and increasing. And it got to the point to where now he wants to kill. Sometimes we can go around in life and we can be so mad at somebody and we allow that anger to start festering, and then I believe it starts growing roots, then it turns into hate. And if you leave hate in there long enough and let it go unchecked, you will begin, just like him, to start plotting. And so he's plotting. Unbeknownst to Jacob at the time. He doesn't even know this is even going on. And so then what happens is this information got back to Rebecca. She got wind of it. And she immediately, remember how I said the emergency exits? It is for something that comes up and it causes for us for immediate action, right? Mm-hmm. She immediately says to him, look at verse 42. When these words of her elder son Esau were repeated to Rebekah, she sent for Jacob her son and said to him, listen carefully. Your brother Esau is comforting himself concerning you by planning to kill you. Can we say plotting on you? So now, my son, listen and do what I say. Escape to my brother Laban in Haran. Do y'all see it now? He is in harm's way. This is an emergency. She didn't hear this information and say, you know what, let me sleep in this. She didn't hear this information and be like, nah, he probably don't mean it. He probably just, he probably tripping. She sent for him immediately. You are in harm's way. I need you to get up out of here now. There is some situations that we, like Jacob, find ourselves in where we are in harm's way when it is imperative for us to get out. There is somebody under the sound of my voice. You are in a harmful situation. You are in harm's way. Your children are in harm's way. People have been talking to you about this situation. It's time for you to get out. I'm talking about abusive relationships. I'm talking about not even just abusive relationships. You can be in an addiction. Is that harm's way? Mm-hmm. You done had experience with overdoses, and the Lord has spared your life, and you keep doing this, and you keep putting yourself in harm's way. The word of the Lord tonight is, it's time for you to make your escape. It's time for you to get out. Mm-hmm. Many times we can find ourselves in harm's way. Things that don't mean us any good. Young people riding in cars with people who they selling drugs. You know that they do drive-bys and things like that. It's time, get out the car. No longer ride with those people. Mm-hmm. harm's way when you sitting around planning to rob somebody and all you want to do is just rob them. There's too many times where people go after people just to rob them, but then something goes wrong, somebody gets killed. You might not be the one who pulls the trigger, but guess what? In the state of Ohio, both y'all go. Everybody involved in the robbery, am I right about it?
Yeah.
Everybody's getting charged. You're in harm's way because you're hanging around the wrong people. And it's time to pew. Because guess what? If Jacob don't leave, his life is hanging in the balance. Somebody might be thinking, oh, that doesn't describe me. Here I come. When we are supposed to be followers of Jesus Christ, when we keep dibbling and dabbling and being of the world, when we're not living up, when we're not walking upright before God, and we keep dabbling in sin and messing with, here's a little bit, I'm over here in church a little bit here, but then I'm over here in the club and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, I'm doing everything that is not pleasing to God, we are in what? Harm's way. Harm's way. God is telling us to do a certain, he's been after us about doing a certain thing. And we keep doing everything but that. We are in a place of disobedience, which is a dangerous place to be. Can we say we are in harm's way when we're constantly disobeying God? Am I right about it? You are in harm's way. It's time. Here's your wisdom, because what Rebecca, even though she was involved in this, even though it was her plan, she's given him good wisdom. And that is, any questions? Comments? Questions, comments?
My only comment is I lived it. I like living it, you know. Nene know. My daughter got killed. They called it being in the wrong place at the wrong time. She was in a car with somebody, pretty much like what you're saying. He was a known drug dealer. The person that shot her also shot him because he was in the process of trying to rob him. So that's, everything that you just said is exactly what happened to her. And they said because she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. She was somewhere she shouldn't have been.
Yeah. But I think all of us can think of a time where we were in places that we should not have been. And if it wasn't for the grace of God, the mercy of God, our lives were spared.
Yeah.
Some of us has probably been in shootouts. Now, I think did I say this Sunday where somebody get to shooting? We all gonna bounce up out of here. We ain't gonna really be looking to see where it's coming from. Now, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take Andrea and them out there, out north, and then I'm gonna head to where I live at, and then I'm gonna turn the news on to see what happened. I'm not gonna be sitting here saying, well, what happened?
I hit the floor.
We getting out of harm's way, we gonna hit them exits, right?
Yeah, I hit the floor. My mom said the bullet ain't got no name.
Don't got nobody's name on it. Yeah. So yeah. That's she pointed him to an emergency exit. And the wonderful thing about him is he did not downplay it. He got out of there.
He did it.
He made his exit. And the sad thing about it is he had to leave home. Now the exit that he made, even though it's his brother that's plotting on him, he's not innocent. It was his decision that has caused him to be removed or have to leave from where he is. It's his and his mom. But notice the mama, it was her idea, but she ain't got to go nowhere. Sometimes people is influencing us to do things, but then we're the one who is left holding the bag. We're the one doing the time. Right. We're the one. We're the one who's losing out. because somebody talked me into doing something that's wrong. We're the ones got to do 6 months at the county jail. We're the ones. Is the county still a county, or is it just Jackson Pike? Same thing. Jail is jail. But yeah, we are. It was her idea, but she get to stay home. But she's losing out too, because even though she's sending him off to save, the son from killing him, because she understands that if he kills you, I'm gonna lose both of y'all. But at the end of the day, when she sends him away, if we continue to read, because I'm going to be in the life of Jacob for a little while, because what I do see trending with Jacob is all these he has a lot of exits. And so we know she thinks that the brother's going to cool down and then he'll get to come home. But if you read a little further, he doesn't return home for years.
Right.
And if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me, I don't think she's still alive when he when he comes back, the mother. I don't think so. But I'm not 100% certain. And so really at the end of the day, she gets to stay home, but she still loses out on the one that she favored. Because of because she couldn't keep her hands in her pocket. We need to learn to stay out of God's business. And so, yeah, he has to leave home because of decisions he made. He has to leave everything he's ever known to go somewhere he ain't never been. It's almost like him going away to prison, almost, if you think about it. He's being sent away.
Lost everything, yeah.
Lost everything. His mama, his daddy. He lost his sense of family. And we see where he's going. Boy,
Oh, it ain't no picnic.
I'm gonna teach on that. It ain't a picnic, because sometimes you're gonna meet your match. And that idea of reaping what you sow, you slick. There's always somebody slicker. You can't out slick a slick. All right? And so he has to make an exit because of some of the decisions that he made, some choices he made. So we need to rethink some things. And so I'm encouraging us to look at chapter 27 and reading on to 28. Is we need to look at some things of sometimes when we see other people's testimony, and that's what this is. This is his testimony. This is his life. We can look and be like, okay, well, I don't need to do that. I don't need to no longer take advantage of people that are in a vulnerable state. I don't need to do that, right? Tricking and slicking ain't always what's best. It's never what's best. It will catch up with you, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And so that concludes our Bible study tonight. Any questions?